What would your reaction be if I told you that in order to really, truly submerge yourself in the next video game you play, and to get the most out of the game's world and the story, that you need to stop running, speeding, or fast traveling everywhere and just walk? Crazy, right? You'd probably say that's ridiculous, call me psycho, or maybe even consider clicking away from the video. No, you would never do that to me, right? Right? But be honest here, when was the last time you actually stopped and just looked around in a video game? Not like a quick glance to spot a collectible or an objective, but you really took in the game's world and the setting. Most of us, myself included, are guilty of sprinting from one mission to the next, fast traveling past entire regions, or treating the open world like an obstacle course where we're only focused on getting from point A to point B as fast as possible. But don't you think that you're missing the actual point? Sure, a big part of a game is its gameplay, but it's also the setting, the characters, how they all blend together and interact with each other. Heck, even the soundtrack. Wait, you guys do listen to the soundtrack, right? I swear, if any of you guys comment saying that you play your games on mute, I'm gonna... Okay, let's talk about why you should try walking in your next video game. We'll be talking about a couple games that highlight my point strongly, but to start, a game like Ghost of Tsushima, for example, isn't just designed for combat, it's designed for immersion. The rolling hills, the cherry blossoms drifting in the breeze, the way the lighting changes as the sun sets. Heck, my favorite detail is the way that Jin will occasionally reach out and touch the grass or flowers as he's walking or riding by on his horse. These details weren't just placed at random, they were crafted intentionally to create a living, breathing world by people whose sole job was to make sure the grass blew the right way anytime the objective changed directions, or the water flow was not unforgiving but nudged you in a certain direction. If you're always sprinting to your next fight, you don't even really give the world a chance to exist. Slowing down lets you feel the world instead of just passing through it. You start to notice how the environment reacts to you, the sounds of your footsteps in the dirt, and the rustling of the leaves in the wind, or even the way the grass bends as you move. This can even bleed into how you understand and appreciate the characters of the game. Ghost of Tsushima is one example, but there are many others in various video games. Oftentimes, we don't stop and let our conditions truly impact our experience the way we'd be forced to if it was us in the hero's shoes. We dress our characters in the bare minimum when there's a blizzard outside, as opposed to bulking up to stay warm just for the memes. I've seen people do the same in Breath of the Wild or Elden Ring, where they fight final bosses in their undies, and sure, it's funny, and even a little impressive, but there's a reason you'll never see stuff like this as a screenshot on the cover of the game, because it's not an accurate depiction of the character or the story. What do you mean this isn't an accurate depiction of the game's playable character? Cody Rhodes and Rhea Ripley are in Call of Duty. Why can't my character look like this and have a lightsaber? If we take the time to walk and put ourselves in the hero's shoes, then suddenly, the world isn't just a backdrop anymore, it becomes part of our experience. Okay, so maybe you're not into nature. Maybe you prefer the neon glow of a busy city. But even in an urban environment, the same rules still apply. A game like Grand Theft Auto Vice City is filled with detail. The reflection of neon signs and puddles after it rains, the way the different districts have their own atmosphere, the way the sunset casts long shadows over the city skyline. It's truly one of the most magnificent visual experiences that you can have in a game, yet it's entirely possible for you to miss the experience altogether. When you're rushing from mission to mission, all of that fades into the background, but if you just take a walk, you start to see the life in the city, how every detail adds to the atmosphere. The reason I picked Grand Theft Auto here is not only for its awesome neon lighting, but because the game just seems to have so much personality. There are many other games that do the whole busy city gimmick, but few succeed like Rockstar does with this series. You can even jump to GTA 5, because this is where Rockstar blows my mind. In a game this massive, Rockstar could have easily just randomly generated a bunch of NPCs just to fill up the world. They could have gave them random clothing, cars, dialogue, but instead, the levels that they went to in order to make their world feel real is honestly unbelievable. Randomly generating would have been quick and probably cost a lot less, but you could have ended up with the Valley white girls walking around talking on their phone like the gangsters and getting into their oversized pickup truck only to turn on mariachi or heavy metal music. No, that'd be pretty funny, but instead, every NPC looks like they could be their own side character. They have their own style, their own conversations, which can be interrupted by the player to start new dialogue. Incredible in its own way. As well as their own cars and music, which is determined by the way that they look, what area of the map they live in, and what their motives are with the player. It's absolutely brilliant. Stereotypical at times, but still brilliant. Alright, I'm done gawking about Rockstar and GTA now, but seriously, quit running everywhere. You realize how silly you must look to NPCs everywhere? You don't see them doing that in movies.
Hey, do you mind going to check the mail for me?
Sure, yeah, give me just 1 second. Let me go out here real quick. I'll be right back. At least drive somewhere so you can listen to the game's radio. Jeez. Video games aren't just about objectives, they're about experiences. Some of the best moments in gaming aren't about what you're doing, but where you're doing it at.
So what does Chili's have to do with this video?
Nothing, I just wanted a triple dipper. When you stop rushing and start exploring, the world opens up in a way you never noticed before. Have you ever noticed how in games like Breath of the Wild, Spider-Man, or Assassin's Creed, how when you go to fill out the map and survey the land, the game makes it a point to take you up somewhere high and show you just how expansive the world really is. Almost like the developers are pointing, saying, hey guys, look at how hard we worked making this awesome world for you, making sure you get to experience some of the most beautiful scenes ever, you know, in case you can't get out and see something like that because, you know, maybe you don't live in an exciting area, you're not physically able, or you just don't have the money. And then after all that, you hit them with a, lol, that's crazy. So where's the next boss fight? There's something special about wandering without a goal, just letting the environment take you in. Maybe you discover a hidden path you would have missed, or maybe you just get lost in the atmosphere. This is often how I discover side quests, out of the way NPCs with really interesting dialogue that I'm glad I didn't miss, or just a little quaint pocket of the world that I can take a breather in. Oh, there you are. Well, boy, do I have the mission just for you. There's a creator by the name of Any Austin who I've recently become a fan of, and one of my favorite things that he does is highlight random places in games that aren't fancy, they're not integral to the story really in any way, but they just feel real. He calls them unremarkable and odd places because at the end of the day, they really are just that. Walking makes the world feel real, like something to be explored, not just a series of checkpoints. Now, let's be real, not every game world needs to be walked through. I know I said I was done talking about GTA, but in the effort of being fair, if you're playing something like GTA 5, nobody expects you to casually stroll from one end of the map to the other on foot. Some open world games are massive, and getting from point A to point B on foot would take forever, and games that are already 60 plus hours would inch closer to 600 hours. But if you guys can get this video to 100,000 views, then sure, I'll gladly do a walking only playthrough of GTA 5. And let's be honest, some game worlds are just not that interesting. For every game with a beautiful, fleshed out world, there are going to be 2 or 3 others that are a slog to get through and make rushing through it perfectly acceptable. If an open world feels empty, copy-pasted, or just lacks environmental storytelling, then walking around isn't going to make fairy dust appear and suddenly make the game feel interesting to you. And other times, games are just never going to appeal to you, so you do you. I personally love Ocarina of Time, and I love the overworld. I can never imagine running backwards everywhere and hop-skipping everywhere, because if I saw someone do that in real life, I'd probably keep my distance from them. But where I see nostalgic charm, others will see an empty overworld and JPEG backgrounds. Fair point. The key is knowing when to slow down. If a game has stunning landscapes, intricate cityscapes, or deep environmental storytelling, walking can enhance the experience. The game probably doesn't want you running around like a goof if your character and the NPCs are trying to tell a story or hold a conversation. You ever tried running and talking for long periods of time? It's hard. However, if it's just a long stretch of nothing, maybe hit that sprint button or consider fast travel. So yeah, next time you load up your favorite game, just take a walk. Put away the sprint button, let the world breathe, and see what you've been missing. But I want to hear from you. What's a game that you think deserves to be walked through instead of rushed? What's a game that you should definitely not waste time walking through? Please feel free to drop your thoughts in the comments.
Oh, hey. Woo. It was getting hot in there. I'm glad you came. But while I have your attention, why don't you check out the description so that you can check out my Patreon link, or you can check out the Discord community link and join other cool gamers. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.